Hey everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things, and today I have a book review for you. Also, I'm coming to you at Ice Donna, apparently, because it is cold outside. I'm also not drinking coffee right now. It's tea. It's a mixture of herb teas. There's peppermint and lemon balm and ginger. Anyway, a mixture of stuff. So I finished this book. This was on my adult challenge for 2026 reading. Yeah, that was good English. I don't know. Right here, it is number 2 on the list. I have not listened to the first book that's on my list yet, which is Anxious People. I am waiting for it through the library. Whoever has borrowed Anxious People in audiobook form from Libby, why do you still have it? They checked it out. It says that they checked it out January 2nd. It is January 26th now, and I just want to finish all of the books that I predicted that I was going to read. Okay, look. In my journal, I have a section where I have a TBR of what I want to read, everything that I want to read in the month of January. Okay, there's 2. Okay, there's 3. But I've read all of these except for Anxious People, Double Felix, and Tornado Brain. Double Felix is gonna have to get moved to February because I haven't ordered my books from Paper Pie yet. So, and then but look down here. Okay, so here's here's what I wanted to get out of the way. Okay, here's what I wanted to read up here, and then down here I've read more than that, which I will do a video on later. I just wanted to let y'all know, but I just want to read Anxious People. My friend read it and she said it made her cry, and now I'm like, am I gonna cry? I don't know. But on to what we're talking about today. I finished The Girl Who Ignored Ghosts. This is book 1 in The Unbelievables, and I'm gonna need the next book. Also, look, I dyed my hair. It is not the shade that I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be purple, and it came out more of a red. Anyway, so like all my reviews, I'm going to read you the back of the book, and then I will read you my review, and I may give spoilers at the end, because I can't contain myself. And here we go. She tried to ignore them, but some things won't be ignored. Kat Preston doesn't believe in ghosts, not because she's never seen one, but because she saw one too many. Refusing to believe is the only way to protect herself from the ghosts that tried to steal her life. Kat's disbelief keeps her safe until her junior year at McTarnan. I think is how it said, Academy. When a research project for an eccentric teacher takes her to a teeny private island off the coast of Connecticut, the site of a grisly mystery The Isle of Acacia is no place for a girl who ignores ghosts. But the ghosts leave Kat no choice. Accompanied by her research partner, Evan Kingsley, she investigates the disappearance of Cassie Mallory and Sebastian Radcliffe on their wedding night in 1886. Evan's scientific approach leaves Kat on her own to confront the host of unbelievables, ancestral curses, powerful spells, and her strange connection to the ghost that haunts the castle. Crichton? I think it's Crichton. But that's all before Kat's yanked through a magic portal and Evan follows her. When the two of them awaken 129 years in the past with their souls trapped inside the bodies of two wedding guests, everything changes. Together, Kat and Evan race to stop the wedding night murders and find a way back to their own time and to their own bodies before their souls slip away forever. Let's see. I'm going to read some of these reviews here. The Girl Who Ignored Ghosts is a fascinating blend of mystery, romance, time travel, and ghost. The small seaside town setting and gothic atmosphere instantly pulled me in. The complex, carefully plotted storyline kept me hooked. K.C. Tansley took time travel to a whole new level, and I loved it from the start to finish. That was by Morgan Page, the author of The Beautiful and the Cursed. Let's see. In The Girl Who Ignored Ghosts, K.C. Tansley has crafted a compelling, magic-tinged mystery that spans generation, at once haunting and tragically romantic. The Girl Who Ignored Ghosts is not to be missed. Ignore at your own peril. Chris F. Holm. Everyone's pretty much saying the same thing. That's why I'm not reading too many. But yeah. So I got this book in one of the Fill-A-Bag sales that I go to. And whenever I saw it, I was like, it looks like reading it and looking at it, I was like, that's probably a YA book. But you can never be too sure now. This is a young adult book. And so some of the pages I was like, ugh. Felt mean to my book, but and I may have gotten some hair dye on it up here. Oh, you can't see it, but yeah. Oops. But now I'm gonna read you my review and my little book. So let's just flip to my review page. Yes, I scratched out some stuff. I couldn't remember how to spell sarcasm. I was like S-R-R-A-A-R. A-R? Okay. Title: The Girl Who Ignored Ghosts. Author: K.C. Tansley. I started this January 15th, 2026. And I finished this January 25th, 2026. I gave this a 4 stars, and I put 1 spice. There is making out, and there is talk about SA. So it's not very descriptive in those, but there's talk about them. And at one point, Kat enters the room to her best friend and her best friend's boyfriend, entangled and all over each other. And she's like, so I tiptoed back out and then I made an entrance. There's you a funny bit of spoiler. That's not really, I mean, you don't know when it happened, so. Would I recommend this? Yes. Also, I just realized that I didn't spell recommend right on my paper. That's okay. It can stay that way. Genres: fantasy fiction, mystery, YA. Pages or hours. I couldn't find this in audio form, so I just wrote down how many pages were in my book. 230. And there are 40 chapters. More by this author, just the rest of the series. I think there are 4 or 5 books. My favorite character was Evan. I thought, well, it was hard, okay? I liked most of the characters for different reasons. Evan was the one that I thought had a nice arc. So like when you first see Evan, he's like a grumpy pants, like grr, stickler for the rules, kind of, because Kat is so good at like research and stuff. He's kind of like, he's the TA, okay? So he's the teacher's assistant. He doesn't really, he grades the papers, but he for some reason has it out for Kat and gives her a B on a research paper because of spelling errors. And she's like, no, and she argues with him a lot about that in the beginning. My favorite quote, it's gonna be out of context, and so later I will go back and explain it. Seth winked at me. Wanna be my Lorelai? You run to the water, you run into the water and drown. I'll be right behind you. Seth flirts with everything, by the way, and Kat, she just rolls with it sometimes. She's like, yeah, I'm not interested in him, but it makes Evan mad because Kat is 17 and everyone else in this research trip is 18 or older. Her best friend is 18, I believe. I don't know. I mean, they're in their June. Okay, so Morgan and Kat are in their junior year of high school. And I think, we're not positive, but I think Seth and Evan are in college. Like the teacher, their professor is attached to both, and the campuses are like walking distance. And their Kat and Morgan are kind of in a dorm room type situation. Yeah. So I think Seth and Evan are like older, like 19, 20. Let me just read my review for you, okay? I really enjoyed this adventure. There was I missed a word. Okay. There was so much sarcasm and snark that it made me giggle. The fact that Kat grew up to at least 10, helping Ghost, until one ghost tried to take over her body. Then a good ghost helps her stop ghosts appearing to her. Look, I was trying to write this review and not give any spoilers. So that was pretty much, I was just explaining what the back of the book said a little bit more clearer. Kat likes to learn and research. Her mom is an archaeologist, and when Professor Astor, I'm not good with names, told Evan Kat has more experience doing field work than him, even though she's so young. I wish I could have been there in the room to see Evan's face. He would. I love that when we got to go to the past, because we know we're going to the past, right? You know you're going to the past because that was in the back. That we witness everything the way Kat witnessed it. Witnessed it? Witnesses it? Anyway, we see and feel things the way Kat does. And not being, she's not in control all the time. That is kind of a spoiler, but you know that she's in someone else's body. So what happens when two souls are in a body? They can't both be in charge. I also hope that Kat and Evan's relationship keeps growing because they care when they care about someone, they are all in, and they both need that. I need the second book because even though this wrapped up pretty well, there is a part that is to be continued. Okay? Yeah. That's it. That's all I wrote. I wrote kind of big because the pen I was using was a gel pen and it was a little bit liquidier. I had to leave my book sitting open. So this book, it's hard to talk about without giving spoilers. Okay? So I'm gonna do my best. At the beginning of the book, Kat is in high school with her friend, researching a paper. She works really hard on it, gets more information than she had, and turns it in, like I said. Something happens to her in the library, and she freaks out. She's like, no, I don't believe in ghosts. It's just some football players playing a trick on me because I'm the last one here. And she runs into her friend, and her friend's like, you okay? And she's like, yeah, just football players flickering the lights and stuff. And she's like, I was coming to find you because the library's closing. And she's like, so what party we're going to? Because she knows if she surrounds herself with people, then the ghosts don't bother her. Or if she surrounds herself with non-believers, the ghost won't appear because there's too many non-believers or something like that. That's how it's explained, okay? Because she doesn't fully grasp it either. She also surrounds herself with a bunch of stones and plants. And because she was told that if she does that, if she surrounds herself with grounding, then the ghosts have trouble getting through. I don't think I like this tea. It's like too lemony. doesn't mean I'm gonna stop drinking it. So, she turned in her paper, and something that happened. Okay, so Kat is very much, I don't like people. I would rather work by myself. She's an introvert. And her friend Morgan is an extrovert. Because extroverts adopt introverts, right? So they make fun of Evan because he is the way he is very to the T, follow the rules, and stick up his butt kind of person. And there's one part when Kat goes to argue her defense about her paper. She she's always been like very like, keep it to yourself, don't call names, you don't, your anger doesn't need to surface to other people. She calls him a jerk. And then she's like, and she grabs her paper and she storms out. She's like, can't take that back. And so it's just funny because then they're traveling to the castle. He starts being her protector because he thinks that Seth is hitting on her for real. And he like bristles every once in a while at stuff that's said between them, and it's all in good fun. There's nothing overly done about it. It's not sexual or anything like that. That part about the Lorelai, you'll be my Lorelai. So in their research that they do, they find out that there is a lore that at the castle there was someone named Lorelai, and she was in love with someone from the inland, and they weren't allowed to be together, so they would sneakily be together. And one day, because this was way, 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 way back, so they didn't know really how to judge the causeway, because it's an aisle, so it has a walkway, but only when it's on low tide. Okay, so they didn't really have a way to track that, and he was walking across. This guy that she was in love with was walking across the causeway, and the high tide came in before he made it, and she watched him get sucked away to sea, and then she jumps to be with him forever. And so that's the lore. Is it true? I don't think we ever find out, to be honest. But Evan, when they found this out, it's like, oh, how romantic and stuff like that. And Evan's like, it was probably made up to, so kids won't go into the water without knowing, without an adult, and without knowing when the tide's happening. And she, Kat's like, yeah, that could be true. And so later, when they're about to cross it, that's when or they're thinking about crossing it, and it's not time yet. There's some bantering going on, and Evan's like, Seth, stay away from her. She's a child. Because she's 17. Look, she's 17. He's like 19, okay? It's not, to me, I'm like, that's not a big difference. Anyway, and that's when the whole, will you be my Lorelai? And she's like, yes, if you go run into the water and drown. I'll be right behind you. They don't, though. Morgan's like, actually, if you go out there right now, because the tide isn't in the process, like, she, like, explains. She's like, because it's in the process of going down, the current is stronger and you will get sucked under. So please wait. And then while they're doing their research, you meet someone else that Morgan knew in the past, and we are led to believe he is not a very nice guy. Yeah. We talked to his granddad about a curse. It's curse, yeah. And so when they finally get to the little island, it's a castle. Legit. And it's a lot of walking, and Kat is an indoor person, and she pops open an umbrella. And are you serious? Yeah. Have you seen my skin? And she's like, even with all the sunscreen on, I could still burn. So, but then they get to the castle, and they are given strict rules of where they're allowed to go and what they're allowed to touch, and then they're given a tour of the castle, and it's just the four of them. The professor did not come with them, and they learn some stuff, and they're trying to break a curse, or trying. In the beginning, you don't know that they're trying to break the curse. Not really. You know that there is a curse, and the person who owns the castle is said to die on his 23rd birthday. Yeah. So you see where that's gonna lead. So yada yada yada, they do all of that stuff. Kat is bestowed the key to Cassie's room. Cassie Mallory's room. The room she stayed in before the wedding and before she was offed. There is a bunch of theories of what happened. And you don't know for sure until you watch what happened. You watch. It's a bit gory. There's some blood. They actually have measurement of how big the blood puddle was, and it was like 4 feet across. And Evan goes, no one can survive that. She's like, no. And then you see the blood stain, because nobody has gone in that room since then, 129 years ago. So, and then we go into the past, and I'm not going to tell you how we get to, wait, does it say how they got to the past? A magic portal. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what the magic portal is, because that would be a spoiler, but it's so cool. It makes sense magically. Also, something cool about this is you really focus on people's eyes, and because Kat knows so much about stones, she gives descriptions as like, oh, and his eyes were like tiger's eye. Or her eyes were like garnet. Or sparkled like, I don't know. My brain stopped remembering stone names. Hold on. Turquoise. Interesting. Like, that's like a blue, right? The turquoise stone? Anyway, you don't have to know about stones to read this. And then there is Sharing a Body. And there's some memories that we get to see, and some premonitions, and there is a lot of deceiving. There, so much happens. So much happens. And it makes sense that Kat and Evan, Evan does everything he can to protect her. He is, at first he was like, well, I'm in charge of you. But as things go on, there might be more, which is why I need the second book. I'm like, oh, is there gonna be a romance between them? It'd be so cute. Two little nerds. Anyway, and then I can't continue because it's all spoilery after that. So real fast, you know what? No, I am not going to do any spoilers. This book, but there is so much in this book, okay? Like, for 230 pages, there so much happens, and I really enjoyed it. So you should read it too. That is gonna be where I end. That's it. No more reviewing. I'm gonna stop talking. Are you doing my reading challenges with me? Do you want to do these reading challenges with me? I have an adult reading challenge and a preteen reading challenge, and I also have a children's reading challenge. And I can leave a link for all of these papers that I just showed you in the description. It's free to do the challenge with me. You go to when you click it, it'll take you to a Google Doc, and then you can print it out and do these with me. If you are doing this with me, let me know which book you're looking forward to. You don't have to read them in order. I just have them set up a certain way how I wanted to read them. And yeah. That's that. Have you read this book Have you read this book before? What did you think of this book? And have you read the second book? Was it good? Let me know. I need to know. And like this video if you like this video. Comment below all of that stuff that I've already said, and any suggestions that you think that I should read next year. Because I'm always taking suggestions. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. If you've gotten this far, you might as well subscribe. And if you're not sure if you want to subscribe, you can click my face bubble. It'll be somewhere, or just go check out my channel and see if I'm someone that you want to watch. Yeah. Other than that, I am hopefully gonna listen to Anxious People, and then I'm going to be doing another NetGalley video soon, and I think I'm gonna do a video to show what I read in January and what I want to read in February. So that'll be coming up. And yeah, share this video because sharing is caring, and someone else might want to know about this book. That's all I have to talk about. I will see you on my next video. Bye!